everybody, and welcome back. I've been doing a little bit of work in my plant room, but today I really wanted to talk about one of my favorite plants that I have, and that being the variegated string of hearts. So we are going to talk care, there it is, propagation, and also just some tips and tricks for your variegated strings of things, regular strings of things. So if that is something that you are into, stick around and let's talk strings of things. Okay, so I had made a whole video talking about this beautiful variegated string of hearts. We had propagated it. It was super long, propagated, talked about care, went to edit it, and I realized that the entire video was made in slow-mo. And I was like, what the heck? So I was able to get some clips that came back, so I'll show a little bit of that, but I figure it's still a good thing to talk about. I do have this variegated string of hearts. This, catch it, variegated string of pearls, and then I did get a second variegated string of hearts because I want a larger one to balance out another plant that I have hanging in the living room. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the propagation process, a little bit about care. We're going to do a couple of chores, and then that'll be it for today. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the actual propagation of this plant and most strings of plants. So the plant that I had previous was really long hanging, but it only had one vine. So it was like one really long vine in a little pot, and it looked so cute, but I wanted a fuller top. So where there's more like this going on, and then as it grows, it will grow around the pot. So that was the goal with this plant. And so what we did is we took the actual vine, chopped it in between the nodes, so in between the leaves, every couple of leaves, and then all that I did was get some fresh new dirt, place all of these vines down into this soil. So you can kind of see, there we go. There are quite a few vines just sitting on this soil. The place where the leaf comes out will also grow roots if it is in the right environment. So I added a little bit of soil on top, watered it in, and then we are now waiting for this to root. I have lost some vines, so I kind of come through every few days, see if there's anything that looks like it's dying off, remove it. But I have noticed recently that we're getting a significant amount of new growth inside of this pot. So this teeny tiny little baby leaves, I'll show you, are new growth. And the vine that is hanging is getting a ton of new growth too. So if you're looking to propagate, there are lots of methods. This method is working really well for me. Eventually, I'm going to add these two into the same pot so that it is a larger, more full plant. I'm just waiting for this one to kind of establish first. So with that being said, strings of plants, strings of pearls, strings of hearts, dolphins, goldfish, whatever it is that you like, have a very typical growing style. The more light that you give the top of the plant, the fuller it is going to be, and the fuller the vines will be when they grow. So a lot of people like the idea of these plants hanging. You put them on top of your cabinets and you see this beautiful hanging. And if the top, the root system, is not getting adequate sunlight, you're going to start having some death up here, and also areas where there's long stretches of vine with no leaves on it. So when you're kind of looking for places for this to be in your home, really keep the lighting in mind if you want that really full heavy plant. The second thing that I want to talk about is the majority of the time, in general, people are killing their plants because of overlove, like overcare, and I want to take care of it and I want to water it. I've noticed that these plants, because their root systems are pretty shallow and they have these really full leaves that can hold in water, they need water less often than you imagine. So how do we know when they need water? In terms of the two that I have here, the leaves will really tell you when they want to be watered. So for the string of pearls, the actual pearls will start to get shrivelly. They'll look like they're kind of like wrinkling, and they will have some give when you squeeze them. That's how you know that water supply that they're holding on to has diminished and they're ready for some water in the root system. So before you water, kind of look at them. Do they look dry? Do they look wrinkled? In terms of the string of hearts, it's the same thing. These leaves are holding on to water, so they're going to get really fragile, not the word, but when you squeeze them, like pinch them between your fingers, they're going to have some give. You can tell right now, this one is giving me no give. It's really sturdy. Be gentle because you don't want to break it in half. But once it starts to have some give, when you're squeezing it, that's when you know it's probably time to water it. So in terms of water, this is not one that I'm watering like every week on the same day. That's how you are going to get some root rot, some issues with growth. So keep that in mind. Water less than you think. And there's really telltale signs with these water holding leaves. So this is how this sits in my plant room. And I did get these little stick-on shelves on Amazon, but you can see I've got this string of hearts, string of pearls, and then this, the lightning's warble, I'm sorry, is a Hoya moonshine. And then up here, we've got that new string of hearts and then a couple of propagations. And so the whole of the plant is really getting adequate light. And I think that that is why it is thriving so much, especially this one after propagation. There's some examples of that new growth that I'm seeing here, and then that new growth that I'm seeing here. In terms of this string of pearls, you can see all these little babies are also new growth. So I think that these are now really happy in this window. Okay, so if you have any tips about caring for strings of plants or anything that you feel like you found like the secret, please share it down below, because I've said it 100 times here, we are all learning together. I'm not a master, I just share the things that I've learned, the things that I've come across, researched, and so we want to hear from each other. So make sure you leave those down below and stick around. We're going to go to Walmart today because I need to do some grocery shopping, and I feel like it's been a long time coming that I deserve a new plant. So we're going to go to the plant section, see what we can find. I'm hoping to find the escaletos. Anyone found them at Walmart? So stick around and let's see what we can find. We'll come back here, do a couple teacher on summer break chores, and then that will be it for today. Alrighty, we just got home from Walmart. Did get a couple of plants, which I will show you guys. They had very little. It's definitely like end of season. So we did get a couple clearance plants. I think I spent a total of like $13 on 2 plants. So I'm pretty excited about that. But I do need to do a little bit of meal prep now. So my husband is in school and I was thinking I would make him some breakfasts on the go. So we're gonna do copycat Starbucks egg bites. And so follow along with me and learn how to make these. They are so good and so easy to just take on the go. Let's see what we need for this. All right, you're gonna need some bacon, eggs, cottage cheese, any cheese of your liking. This typically calls for Gruyere, but I did get pepper jack, some cornstarch, seasonings, and then whatever hot sauce you prefer. Okay, so this recipe does call for 4 slices of bacon for 12 egg bites. So my culinary teacher tip is to pre-slice your bacon before cutting it because it will cook quicker that way and more evenly. So if you just take your kitchen shears right out of your knife block, chop up this raw bacon, it's going to cook way faster, and then you don't have to worry about flipping it. You just kind of stir it around with a spatula anytime you need diced bacon in a recipe. I did use about a heaping cup. The recipe calls for 1.25 cups, so I just kind of eyeballed a heaping cup. It might be a little bit more, but nobody ever said that that was a bad thing. Okay, y'all, so here is where the magic happens. We're gonna take all of our ingredients, place them into a blender. This includes cheese, eggs. We're gonna leave the bacon out for now. The cornstarch is gonna give it that thickness that we like, that bite through. And then to cook it, we're gonna do a special trick that gives, look at this dog searching for more cheese, that gives that sous vide texture that we really like from those egg bites. So let me get this all blended together. I just have a NutriBullet, so I'm gonna do it in 2 batches. 3 eggs in each batch, and then half of the amount of everything else. And then we will get these cooking. All right, for the full recipe, you need 6 eggs. Like I said, I'm doing a half recipe twice because I just have the small little NutriBullet and not the big blender that you would make smoothies with. So we are just doing this twice. You're gonna need a heaping cup of cottage cheese. So I'm doing a heaping half cup here. Where's Benny? She's so helpful. Anyone who has a Basset Hound, comment on how helpful they are all the time. You're gonna need 2 tablespoons of corn starch. Like I said, that is for the texture, the thickness. So I'm doing 1. Half of your cheese, she wants that. So about a heaping half cup for me, heaping cup for you, salt, pepper, and whatever hot sauce you like. My very favorite hot sauce, especially for breakfast, is Louisiana. We are out of it though, which I don't think has ever happened to me in my life. So I did pull the Frank's, but because I decided to do the pepper jack this time, I might just forget about the hot sauce. And then that's what that looks like. We're gonna go ahead and get this all blended up and placed into our muffin tins. Biggest number 1, do not forget, spray that pan. It will be a nightmare if you do not. These will stick to the edges like crazy, or you can use the silicone. If you do, still spray the pan. Got these all filled. And then I just evenly distributed that bacon between each of these. I'm gonna use a spoon and kind of press some of that down just so that it's not all floating on top. You have bacon as you bite through. So just gently, it doesn't all have to go down. Like so. And then, okay, and here is the trick to getting that sous vide spongy, airy texture that we love, you are going to oil some water. I just did it in the microwave. And then place it into a shallow dish. This dish is going to go in the oven underneath the egg bites. It's going to create steam that then gives that sous vide experience for these. She's just like in everyone's business. Go away, peace. So that's what you want to do to get that texture that you're looking for. People say they bake these and they're just not quite the same. This is the trick, you guys. We're gonna bake these at 300 degrees for about 20 minutes. And then once they start to get brown on the top, that is when you know that you're done. All right, and here is how these turned out. They are going to be so spongy and airy and fluffy. Let me know if you try this recipe down in the comments and what you think about it. Okay, so I did get, like I said, a couple things at Walmart, just a couple things that I've been wanting, really like low budget, nothing super exciting, but I did get this Dracaena, which it looks so nice and healthy. And this is just one of those that is like a classic and it gives that like jungly vibe to any room. So I did get this and it was clearanced. Like I said, I think it's like end of season, everything's getting clearanced out. So this was $4 for this beauty. And then I did find this Alocasia and I really scoped it out and also washed it. It was also in clearance and I wanted to make sure there was no bugs. I didn't see anything. I'm not gonna put it near any of the old plants at the moment. So this one I think is a pink dragon because it has the pink stem, but let me know if I'm wrong about that. I'll do a little research. We just got home and this one was $7. So I thought end of the season, these are probably going in the trash if they don't get purchased. I don't have this plant and I do find it really beautiful. It does have this new leaf here that it looks like just kind of popped out and is still unfurling. So I'm really excited about those two. Anyways, that is our day. So thank you for sticking around, doing a little chores, cooking with us. I hope that you're able to try that recipe because we love it here. And if you have advice, like I said, about any strings of things, plants, make sure you leave those for us down in the comments so that we can continue to be the best plant parents that we can be. And I will see you guys in my next video. Make sure that you like this one and subscribe. It really helps to put these out there into the world. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.